You're unbelievable. You promised that you'd take me out on a date.
So the 48-hour film project happens in about 127 cities around the world. You've got a weekend, 48 hours to produce an entire film, which will then go to the cinemas. People will vote, and the winners end up in the Cannes Film Festival. They end up at all these international events. So they give you on the Friday evening at 7 p.m. a genre, a line of dialogue, a character's name, and a prop. And by Sunday night, you have to have come up with a complete film. The idea to do it, we've got a lot of talent here at eNCA. We're largely confined by our creative abilities because we are doing news, we are doing real life events. And this is a chance for us to go crazy, to explore those boundaries, to do sex scenes, to put smoke in all our sets, to have guns firing, and to have fun with scripting, which was something that's quite difficult for us because we script real life events. We quote Jacob Zuma or a mine strike that's happening. And this is a blank page and we can do absolutely whatever we want with it. And that's sometimes the most difficult part.
Okay. Rolling.
People were quite tired in November. They had a long year and obviously they're not getting paid to work that weekend and they got to go back to work on Monday. And you're quite knackered, to be honest, because you're working 48 hours straight, no sleep, you're losing your family. What was vital was to have the core ingredients, to have Neil as a director of photography, to have Louis as an assistant director, to have Michael Marilia being an executive producer. As long as you have your cores in place, we were quite comfortable that things would work out. If you start losing those people, if you don't have a video editor, if you don't have a cameraman, then you're in serious trouble.
Yusuf and I did this the year before, so we had done it together before, and at that time we said, let's do this again, but next time we know where we failed before, and we could put more effort into doing it properly the next time. So right from the first one, we decided we're definitely going to do this again when it comes up. So when he came to me with this one, we had already made the agreement that we'd go ahead and do it. And I think for us, the best thing with this film project is, like Yusuf said earlier, we don't get to do this on a day-to-day basis. I work on S&G vans. I don't get to pick up a camera anymore. So this is a chance to break out of the news mold and actually go ahead and exercise your creativity and push the limits and actually see what you test yourself. You can see what you can actually do when given the blank page.
Traditionally, when you're making a film, you'd have a scriptwriter who would take on that responsibility of coming up with the concept and writing the dialogue. Here we don't have anybody that can actually write film. So what normally happens is we have the whole group coming to my house, and that includes the extras, the cameramen, the video editors, and I enjoy them all being part of the process for a few reasons. Firstly, it means everyone understands the concept going forward, and secondly, it's the most fun part, having all these ideas coming forward. There was about 4 or 5 ideas circulating, and perhaps you can talk about some of that brainstorming.
Yeah, the ideas flow, and you find people start pulling towards the groups that they like the ideas of. So within about an hour or two, you start finding groups of people in the room that have the same idea. And then this war begins between the groups. No, ours is better, no, yours is better. And we start thrashing it out. And what happened this time, which I think worked really well, is that Yusuf wasn't there initially. He was busy with the live production. So this happened where we all separated into our corners, and he came and he listened to kind of each of our ideas, and then he came in with a fresh perspective and he said, that's not going to work, and then we started honing down to one common idea. So it is a lot of brainstorming, but there's a lot of disagreement and everyone wants to do their own idea, obviously. But yeah, so then that's where the director comes in, and that's where the importance of the director is that he starts focusing the group to one common goal.
Did you feel a bit of panic, Neil? That when you don't have a story idea at 2, 3 in the morning and you need to start filming?
I didn't really feel panic myself, because my panicking starts once the idea is in place and we're ready to go. That's when I need to start worrying. Initially, I was more listening to the ideas and thinking visually how that could be pulled off. So if a group came up with an idea, I would say, but guys, that's going to be impossible to execute in the time we have, or it's not going to look great. So I was listening, keeping my ears open to the ideas and just trying to put guide them away from certain ideas because they weren't going to work. And also we don't have time. We don't have time to set up a multiple lighting grid and all this. We need to get in with minimal stuff and do it as quickly as we can. So a lot of the ideas that are coming up with would have just taken a week to do and would have been impossible. So I didn't really panic. It was more just like, guys, we can't do that kind of thing.
Perhaps Neil can talk about one more thing. When I pulled that genre out of the hat, we got film noir. And I remember you were incredibly excited about that.
Yeah, as soon as when I saw we had that, immediately I started thinking it's going to be a good opportunity for black and white, very moody kind of shots, which in a lot of other genres don't lend themselves to that. And this also is something, because you are working in darkness basically, you have more control of the lighting and you can actually knock things off a lot quicker and not worry about blocking out light that we don't want. So that genre lends itself to dingy, darky kind of feelings, which is actually easier to shoot than something outdoors, for instance. Also, sound is much easier because you're indoors. So we tried to confine our shooting to indoors as well, just so we had control of the environment. To be honest, I finished that shoot and walked away from it, and I thought, well, that was fun. I did it for the fun, really. Walked away from that thinking, well, that's done, we'll do it again next year. And they all went to the awards. I had family commitments, so I couldn't be there, but I kind of pushed it out of my mind. It was like, I've done that, it's out now, it's done. And then I got a call, or an SMS, I think, from Yusuf saying we pulled the Best Cinematography Award. I was like, what? You're joking? I actually asked him, you're kidding, right? Because I thought this is impossible. There's a lot of top DOPs that go for this award, so of course I didn't even think I was in contention for it. And then to hear that it was really a great moment. I felt like we had really achieved something. The editing played a big part in this award. I think Bijoy, the way he edited this together, I think if someone else had edited it, I don't think we would have got this award. So I think it all depends on, like you're saying as well, it's a team effort. And I think the way it was cut together really worked. It really helped my shots look better. And again, the acting, the interns did really well.
Yeah, we had no actors.
We had no actors. They were basically interns we had picked up around the building. So those are all things that make the shots look the way they did. If an actor doesn't have the right expression, your shot's going to look rubbish. So I think it was definitely a team effort at the end of the day. Time was against us, and I think things like continuity, we kind of fell short a bit.
I think that old saying, they say art is never finished, it's only abandoned. You really appreciate that when you're making this film, because you don't have time to be a perfectionist in anything, and you've got to let things go. You know that it's flawed, you know that you could do a better job on that edit, but you just don't have time.
I think eNCA should maybe enter 2 this year. And yes, the 48-hour festival is a global competition, but I think here within eNCA, we should actually have a competition going.
Get a bit of competition going.
So we already have this award. So I put it to everyone at E to get together and set up an opposition to us.
As a challenge.
As a challenge. So we have a bit of a competition going within the company.
Bring it on.